Welcome to the opening round of the 2010 Speed Series, the only Le Mans-style long-distance racing championship in the UK. The cars have lightweight chassis and powerful 2-litre race engines, which gives them incredible acceleration and top speeds of over 220 kilometres an hour. And with aerodynamic bodywork, a rear wing for extra downforce, and Avon slick tyres that have incredible cornering speed. Here at Silverstone, the Speed Series was supporting the Super League formula, a prestigious global championship featuring racing teams that are supported by major international football clubs. It's all part of a plan to raise the profile of speed, and it's led to some changes in the race format, as promoter Stuart McCrudden explains.
There's two criteria we looked at over the winter. Is one, can we go play at bigger race meetings? So here we are at Super League, and we're with the Le Mans Series race at the end of the season. So that's real prestige racing, which is good for our whole profile. To that end, we have to fit in with their timetables. So we've mixed and matched. We're going to have our 3-hour races, which is the core part of Speed Series, and then we'll have a double header, 1.5 hours, as we're doing this weekend with Super League. So we're happy with the format. It's a nice mix and match situation. If you had trouble, technical trouble in the first hour and a half, you've got another race coming up on the Saturday. So it's good fun.
And you must be delighted with the quality of drivers that we've now got in the field this year.
Yeah, when you're picking up people like Warren Hughes, who've been sensational across their career, we're all going in the right direction. So the guys who thought they were championship winners last year have now got to be on their mettle to be certain they're competitive this year. It's good news. If anybody is going to be a team driver in the Le Mans car in the next 4 or 5 years, they need to be here in Speed, because it's the way they learn real car control. It's the right sort of car. 2 or 3 driver activities means it's economically viable, and it trains mechanics to be endurance mechanics, which is, you know, an art in its own right.
Before we look at highlights from the first of 2 races here at Silverstone, let's meet some of those teams who'll be contesting the Speed Series this year. RLR Motorsport finished second in the standings last year. The ever-improving Barry Gates returns, with reigning champion Rob Garofol replacing Anthony Dunn.
Yeah, I mean, it's taken a little bit of adjustment. The Ligier I've never driven before, but we're getting to grips with it fairly well. Mainly what we're trying to do this year is get Barry really on the pace and get him a lot of time in the car in preparation for some Le Mans Series racing. So that's the focus. But it's a great team. The guys are putting together a really nice car, and we're making progress.
And the team will again run a second Ligier this season, shared by John Grant and Belgium's Christophe Burrick, who helped Satellite Racing to 6th place in last year's standings. Jota Sport are back for another crack at the title after finishing 3rd last season, and they started with pole position here at Silverstone, though driver Sam Hancock knew there was still a long way to go.
It's one thing to make a car fast over 1 lap in qualifying. It's quite another thing to make it drivable, easy to drive, consistent over a long distance race, where you've got long stints where you start with heavy fuel tanks, finish with obviously very light fuel tanks and knackered tyres, you know, so there's a lot of variables come the race, and the setup that you use in quali may not be the one used in the race.
Joining the grid for the first time, Accurate Racing, a new team formed by Ian Simmons and Phil Hall, both of whom raced in the series last year. And the team will run a second car this season, driven by Brazilian Adriano Medeiros and complete novice Mohsin Rashid, both of whom spoke to us ahead of the team's debut.
It's been tricky. It's been tricky. Very wet. Haven't had enough time in the car. So for me, this year's about learning. No expectations. Pressure's on Adriano to perform, and he's just got to hand it over to me with a big lead.
The downforce, the grip is amazing. So you have to drive a little bit to actually understand how fast you can push. It's amazing.
Norma UK have several years' experience of producing fast and reliable race cars, and with car owner Simon Phillips joined by the rapid Chris Ward, they should be amongst the front runners. Following an impressive 4th place on their series debut at Silverstone last year, brothers Gary and Michael Woodcock will be making regular appearances throughout the season. WFR comprises a team of hugely experienced sports car personnel, and with reigning GT4 champion Jody Firth and Le Mans class winner Warren Hughes sharing the driving, they should be right up there.
Well, certainly not underestimating the challenge of something new. You know, there's a lot of good guys already in the series, experienced, good drivers with good experienced teams, with team personnel. And until we get into a race and get a feel for everybody, I've got no preconceived ideas, so I just take it as I find it.
New for this year, the Speed Series also includes a separate class for bike-engined cars, and that's allowed AEL Electronic Sourcing to join the action in their 1500cc Radical. And the diversity of the cars on the grid will be further increased through the Invitation class, which features the likes of Gary Kane and Tom Ashton in their 1.3 litre Radical PR6.